The Galactic Council chamber was older than most of the stars visible through its crystalline dome. It had stood as the center of diplomacy for centuries, a monument to cooperation, reason, and the illusion of peace. Yet on this day, silence gripped it like a predator's claw. Thousands of delegates from across the spiral arm watched as the human delegation rose from their seats for the last time. The eldest of them, a tall figure with calm eyes, scanned the chamber. His voice, when it came, was steady without anger or plea. For too long we have endured mockery, deceit, and betrayal. Humanity entered this council in the spirit of unity, not servitude. We have given more than we received. We have been patient, but patience is not the same as submission. Today we walk away. The chamber erupted into a storm of sound. Cries of protest, laughter, and even relief echoed through the vaulted hall. A dozen species shouted accusations. Others whispered, realizing the weight of what had just been spoken. Only the humans stood silent. When the doors closed behind them, the air in the chamber seemed colder. For the first time in generations, the council felt fear. For humanity, it began with disappointment. For the rest of the galaxy, it would end in fire. Humanity's departure was not sudden. It was the result of decades of humiliation. Every innovation Earth offered was regulated. Every discovery was claimed as shared intellectual property. When humans protested, sanctions followed. Trade restrictions choked their worlds. Colonies were isolated. Fleet construction was monitored. The message was clear. Humanity was meant to obey, not to lead. But humanity never thrived under obedience. Within a year of leaving the Council, every human world sealed its ports. Communications were cut. No signal left the Sol Union territories. Scouts who dared approach the borders vanished. The galaxy assumed that humanity had retreated into bitterness. A few believed Earth would collapse without trade, that it would beg for readmission. They were wrong. 3 years later, the first rumors began to spread. Merchant ships swore they saw human vessels far beyond known trade lanes. Massive ships, silent and dark, bearing no markings, moving with purpose. Others reported that systems once barren now pulsed with energy readings unlike anything seen before. The Council dismissed these stories as superstition. Yet the rumors multiplied. Then came the first undeniable proof. The Virath Dominion, a minor empire that had always looked down on humans, sent a fleet of exploration ships toward an uncharted nebula near the Orion Spur. Only one ship returned. Its recordings showed a glimpse of something vast, a network of stations, planets surrounded by artificial suns, and ships the size of moons. And on the hulls of those ships, in clear Terran script, were 2 words: independent territory. The Council panicked. The term was unmistakable. Humanity had not merely isolated itself, it had built an empire. For humanity, progress was a necessity born of exclusion. Without the Council's oversight, they unleashed their potential. Scientists no longer asked for approval. Engineers were free from committees. Artificial intelligences once outlawed were perfected. Energy sources once forbidden were mastered. The fusion of human ingenuity and machine precision gave rise to something beyond comprehension. But humanity did not spread through conquest. They spread through purpose. Worlds uninhabitable to others were terraformed. Desolate moons became shipyards. Stars on the verge of death were rekindled. Humanity built not just for survival but for legacy. When outsiders finally managed to contact them, they were met with calm courtesy, yet unmistakable distance. Humanity no longer sought membership. They no longer sought permission. Their message was simple: we do not serve, we build. We protect our own. The Council watched uneasily as human influence grew. Trade networks shifted. Smugglers preferred human ports for fairness and efficiency. Bordering species quietly entered agreements with Earth's colonies. The Council's authority waned. Then came the event that changed everything. The Zoth Imperium, a species infamous for its arrogance, launched a campaign of expansion near human space. They believed the humans would remain neutral. After all, humanity had always preferred to avoid entanglements. Their fleets moved through frontier systems with ease, enslaving minor colonies and seizing resources. But one of those colonies, New Avalon, was human. The Imperium did not know. Or perhaps they did and thought it irrelevant. They attacked, obliterating the surface within hours. Millions died before the distress signal reached Earth. For 72 hours there was silence. The galaxy waited to see if humanity would respond. Then, without warning, Every human transmission relay activated at once. Across the stars the same message played. To those who would harm our people, we do not forget. We do not forgive. Stand aside. The council debated intervention. Some pleaded for negotiation, others for caution. But before a decision was reached, the stars themselves seemed to awaken. The first human fleet appeared at the edge of the Zoth territories. 20,000 vessels, each a monument of precision. Their hulls shimmered with controlled plasma fields. Their engines bent light. Their weapons emitted energy spectra unknown to any database. The fleet moved with terrifying synchronization. In less than a day, the first Zoth armada ceased to exist. No wreckage remained, only drifting particles glowing faintly in the void. Within a week, 3 Zoth worlds burned. Within a month, the Imperium ceased to exist as a political entity. The Council demanded an explanation. Humanity gave none. They merely declared the region under quarantine. When questioned by envoys, a human commander replied calmly, "You have your councils. We have our responsibilities." Fear spread faster than light. Species that once mocked humanity now sent envoys bearing gifts. Those who once imposed sanctions now sought alliances, yet humanity accepted none. They remained distant, polite, unreachable. It was then that the first whispers began among the Council's analysts. They spoke of the human variable. Every simulation predicted that if humanity continued to expand unchecked, the balance of power across the galaxy would collapse within a century. Some called for war before it was too late. War came sooner than expected. The Vireth, still bitter from their earlier humiliation, proposed a preemptive strike. They gathered allies, convincing the Council that humanity's silence was proof of aggression. A coalition of 50 worlds assembled their fleets. It was the largest military force in galactic history. The invasion of human space began with optimism. The coalition crossed the border with millions of ships. For 3 days they advanced unopposed. Then the stars dimmed, sensors failed, communication dissolved. Every ship reported a sudden gravitational anomaly, as if space itself were folding inward. From the void, human vessels emerged, silent, immense, and utterly still. They did not fire immediately. They simply appeared, surrounding the coalition on all sides. Then one transmission reached every ship simultaneously. "You have entered restricted territory. Leave now." The coalition opened fire. Beams of energy brighter than suns streaked across the void. Not a single shot reached its target. The space around the human fleet shimmered, absorbing the attacks as though the universe itself shielded them. Then, with a single coordinated pulse, the human ships responded. Observers described it as if the night had caught fire. When the light faded, nothing remained. No wreckage, no survivors. Only empty space. The Council denied the loss publicly, but the truth could not be hidden. An entire arm of the galaxy was silent. Years passed. Humanity continued its expansion but never spoke of vengeance. They rebuilt the destroyed systems not as colonies but as memorials. The burned planets became gardens. The dead were honored without distinction of species. When questioned by neutral observers, human diplomats answered with simple words. "We remember what it means to be powerless. We will not allow it again." The Council, desperate to reassert control, sent a delegation to Earth. They expected hostility. Instead, they found peace. Earth was not a fortress but a sanctuary. Cities shimmered with quiet efficiency. Oceans glowed with bioluminescent farms. Children played beneath artificial auroras. The human representative who greeted them was calm and courteous. "You wish to speak of unity," he said. "But unity built on fear is not unity at all. We left because you saw us as tools. Now you see us as threats. Perhaps one day you will see us as equals." The delegation returned shaken. The Council fractured soon after. Some worlds chose to ally quietly with humanity. Others isolated themselves. The age of the Council was over. Centuries later, historians would mark that day, the day humanity walked out of the Council, as the true beginning of the new era. The old powers withered, their arrogance consumed by time. The universe reshaped itself around humanity's relentless will to grow. And yet humans did not seek dominion. They sought balance. They established academies open to all species, offering knowledge freely. They rebuilt dying suns, restored broken ecosystems, healed wounded civilizations. Their fleets became known not for war but for rescue. Still, every being in the galaxy remembered what happened to those who tested them. The words human retaliation became synonymous with extinction, but even in fear there was admiration. for in humanity's rise, the galaxy rediscovered what it had lost, the power of resolve, the weight of honor, and the meaning of justice. On the 1000th anniversary of humanity's departure, a monument stood in the ruins of the old sea,